Hello, and thank you for joining us for our 2016-2017 Available Action for Healthy Kids Breakfast Grants for fall and to impact this 2016 school year. My name is Ellen Dillon. I am the Regional Field Manager for Action for Healthy Kids and oversee all of our breakfast grant work. Just some logistics. This is a 30-minute webinar. We will do our best to get through everything and answer your questions in the 30-minute time block. If you have questions during the webinar, please enter them into the right-hand panel on your computer. You can choose to call in on your telephone or listen on your speakers by choosing the audio radiograph on the right-hand side of your panel, but everyone is muted by default to pull out background noise and remove any other distractions that might occur. But be sure you get your questions in. We'll make sure we've reserved time at the end to answer them. This call is being recorded. The link to the recording and slides will be sent out following the call. You can expect them within 2 business days. Here's our agenda. As I said, this is a 30-minute webinar, but it's packed full. So these are all the things we're trying to get through in this brief webinar to tell you about who Action for Healthy Kids is, what our School Grants for Healthy Kids program is, and how we have grants available in the fall. Our normal grant cycle is the spring of the previous school year for the next school year, but we do have fall grants available this year, and I want to share those with you. We do have a specific application process. We'll walk you through step-by-step how to apply for our grants, important deadlines, some tips and strategies for applying to get funded, because that's our goal, is to fund as many schools as we can, to describe the technical assistance that's provided to you from Action for Healthy Kids, and then, of course, answering your questions. So who are we? Action for Healthy Kids fights childhood obesity, undernourishment, and physical inactivity by helping schools become healthier places so that our children are living healthier lives. We're doing that through a multitude of partners and other organizations, as well as those within the school that are championed for healthy children. Our goal is to create school communities where children learn how to make healthy choices from the minute they walk in the door as a kindergartner to the time they're leaving at the end of the school day, and then as a graduating 12th grader from high school. So we work with all levels of schools, elementary, middle, and high. Our primary focus is to help schools by helping them be well and through school wellness. It's the belief that schools can and should promote and reinforce healthy eating, physical activity, nutrition education, and physical education in order to increase student achievement. We know that students who are eating well and having an opportunity to move more in the school day are more apt to do well academically too. Our model looks like this. We believe that by learning, acting, we can transform schools. This is a model that we work with all across the country, from the point of education regarding teaching and sharing strategies and best practices, providing grants to help schools make those changes, to really transforming the culture of the school to really impact the overall school culture to make it more health promoting. But this is why we're all here today. We wanted to talk about school grants for healthy kids. In 2016-17, Action for Healthy Kids will award over 1,000 schools with about 550 breakfast grantees. Our original grant awards range from $500 to $5,000 awards. Our focus is on breakfast programs, which are going to be focusing on universal free breakfast and alternative breakfast. We grant to schools, PTOs and PTAs, or school health teams and wellness teams. We do not grant to third-party 501c3s, or other community-based organizations. So if you're working with a partner, have the school apply for the grant. Schools must participate in the National School Lunch Program and Breakfast Program, and obviously with the breakfast grant, it should be focusing and participating in the National School Breakfast Program to leverage your reimbursements from your state agency through the USDA, and serve students on the level of K through 12. The school doesn't have to be a K through 12 school, but it has to be, it can't be a dedicated preschool or a child care program. So we're focusing on schools, public, charter, private schools that are focusing on K, any combination of K through 12 age students. So we have a couple different grants available right now. We have a breakfast grant that is focusing on universal, which is free breakfast for all students. Schools can be participating in community eligibility or universal free breakfast through Provision 2. And they must incorporate an alternative model of service. And we also have Game On grants in specific states, and this is to increase physical activity and nutrition initiatives in schools. So if you're interested in those programs, be sure you check them out on our website. But we're focusing on school breakfast grants today. So we have 3 different grants available. And we have a breakfast promotion grant that's available in all states. Eligible schools need to be offering free breakfast for all students, utilizing an alternative model of service, breakfast in the classroom, grab and go, second chance, or some other unique way of moving breakfast from the cafeteria to make it better access for students, and have a current baseline participation for school breakfast around 60 to 75%. So already you probably have these models in place. You've got the equipment that's in place already, and now you really just want to take it to the next level. Your project can include taste test and create interest and help identify new menu options. It can be to conduct a school breakfast challenge where you're maybe hosting or competing among your grades or among your student groups in your school, or some other creative marketing ideas. Our goal is to help you increase your participation. You can also expand your current model. Perhaps you need more equipment. Maybe you do have a grab and go, but you need another kiosk or cart in another location in your school. Or maybe you need some more technology to help move students through your lines quicker. All of those are valid project ideas and good uses of the funds that we can award you. For the breakfast promotion grant, the award is $1,000 per school, where our goal is to help schools move from where they started to 80% ADP by the end of the school year. We know that this can happen with enough attention, and if the infrastructure is in place and perhaps you already have the breakfast in the classroom or grab and go that's pretty effective, but now you're ready to take it to the next level. That's what these grants are intended to do. Schools will also complete our version of the School Health Index. It's an abbreviated version of the CDC's School Health Index and focuses solely on nutrition and physical activity. And there is funding available for a second year by invitation. So for those schools that are successful and doing well, we'll further reward you by offering you an opportunity for a second year of funding. We also have a family engagement grant. Again, very similar. It offers, eligible schools offer free breakfast for all students. It utilizes an alternative model of service, but the baseline is a bit higher. It's 75 to 90%. We're really looking at schools that already have the infrastructure as well as the interest of students, and now want an opportunity to further engage their family members. That's the target market or the target group that we're trying to engage around school breakfast. Those of you who are working in the school breakfast arena know that, you know, with a couple of years of working in school breakfast in a school, that usually it's really the families that might be the last ones that really get an opportunity to learn more about what's happening at the school breakfast opportunities that are happening at the school. So some project ideas could include taste tests to create interest and identify those new menu options, taste tests of breakfast items to families or during parent-focused activities. Perhaps you're taking it to a PTA event or a back-to-school night. You know, anything that helps to promote school breakfast to a group that normally doesn't get to see it is what we're looking for here. Perhaps you're going to host a family-friendly event during breakfast time or include breakfast during family events. Again, looking at what you might already be doing at your school and trying to find a way to incorporate breakfast into that opportunity is a great idea. We're not looking for you to reinvent the wheel, but finding ways to further engage your families around school breakfast. And also increase in communications with families around school breakfast. For this grant, it's a $500 grant per school. Schools are going to either rise to an increased participation of 85% or greater, or maintain that level if they are already there. Schools will complete our version of the School Health Index very similarly to the previous grant. In Nebraska, we also have grant funds to support, and this is only in Nebraska, grants that are offered that are either for schools that are introducing universal breakfast or an alternative model, or expanding what they might be currently doing if they're already implementing such a program. Eligible schools should have a 40% or greater free and reduced eligibility or participate in CEP in Nebraska. Some project ideas might be to purchase additional equipment. It can be an equipment grant. It can be to incorporate taste tests and new breakfast items. It could be some of the breakfast promotion ideas that were talked about earlier with the breakfast challenge within schools or in multiple schools. The grant size is $1,500 per school, and the impact is to increase 20%, increase breakfast participation 20% over last year's participation. And schools will participate in Every Kid Healthy Week. So we also have Game On grants, and Game On grants are eligible in only specific states. You can find out more. Oops, this is not accurate. We do not have a webinar tomorrow. I'll remove that before you get the slide deck. But it will, Game On is a framework to increase physical activity opportunities in schools and nutrition education component to help schools become recognized as health promoting, either through the Healthy U.S. Schools Challenge certification or the Alliance for Healthier Generations Healthy Schools Program recognition. So as I mentioned, grant sizes for this grants are between $500 and $2,500, with most schools receiving $1,000. These grants are designed to help increase physical activity. You can do that through lots of different ways, brain breaks or before and after school, but the goal is to increase to 30 minutes per day, or have a 10% increase if you're already at 30 minutes per day, and really advancing the school's nutrition environment through access to healthy foods. So we did mention very quickly Every Kid Healthy Week. In the Nebraska schools, this is a requirement as a grant, and we do encourage all of our schools to participate in Every Kid Healthy Week. Every Kid Healthy Week is a designed week during the last week of April, and in April of 2017, I believe it's the 25th through the 30th of April, but I have to double check those dates. And what it is that your school will host a family-friendly health promoting event during that time. We have expanded that because we know that not always does that work for every school to have that event during that last week of April, so we've extended it during the entire month of April. So this holiday or celebration observation is part of the Congress's on the Congress's observation calendar for school observations, and it's really about helping to promote healthy schools and health promoting schools. Here's just a quick picture of some of the many activities that have taken place across the country during Every Kid Healthy Week. And you can see they range from things that are going on in the gym, on the playground, outside, in the cafeteria. So really it's a matter of just finding out what works best for your school and trying to figure out, how can you incorporate maybe including families into this activity, and or maybe an event that's already taking place and giving it a healthy spin. Oops, back it up once. So steps for applying. So there is a paper application that you can access on our website. We will send that to you again so that you have access to it depending upon which grant you're applying for. You cannot apply for all of the breakfast grants. So if you're in Nebraska, you shouldn't apply for all 3 grants because you can't be awarded all 3 grants, all breakfast grants. You could be awarded if you're in a state that has a breakfast grant and a Game On grant. You could receive one of each of those, but they each require a separate application. But we do not award multiple breakfast grants to the same school. We do try to spread that out as much as possible. You can use the paper application to organize your thoughts, get your information together, really make entering your information so much quicker, but no paper applications can be submitted. So you really need to log into our online portal in order to apply for the grants. Oops. So how do you do that? So we have a portal, and on our grants there's a way to get to the registration page, and you're going to log into the registration page. And if you haven't been part of our network in the past, you're going to really create a user by clicking on register. If you click on register, you're going to just enter in your name, create a, you usually are using your email as your username, and then create a password, and it's as simple as that. You just hit submit, and then it'll take you to your school's portal page. And this is your home page, and this is where you can do lots of different things. And this is where you can, whether you're going to be a funded school and apply for a grant, or maybe you want to access more resources by completing the school health index and creating a report card that tells you how your school is doing and what suggested activities you should do to improve your school wellness. But you can do that all through the school portal. So once you log into the school portal, you're going to go to your profile. And on your profile, you're going to then be able to pick your schools. The best way to do that is by entering in the zip code of your school. And if you're applying for multiple schools, it might be in multiple zip codes, enter one at a time, and then you'll get a list of schools where you can just choose from those schools that you like to apply for. And then you can finish filling out your profile, and then you can open up and choose the type of grant you'd like to apply for. So you are going to be given a choice as to which grant you apply for. So once you've chosen your grant, then you're going to then decide, am I starting a single schools application or multiple schools? So if you're a district food service person who might be applying for multiple schools, you're going to choose multiple schools. If you're only applying for one school, maybe you're the principal or the nurse or the cafeteria manager, you can do that, and you just choose single schools application. If you're choosing multiple schools, the biggest tip, and I'll reiterate it again later, is you're going to enter all of the common information that you can, because it will autofill through all the applications. And then you hit submit or accept answers. If you accept them too early, you'll have to enter those questions in one at a time. And it just saves you time by trying to autofill as many questions as you can. So the biggest thing as you work through the application is you're going to want to save often, and you're going to work across the multiple tabs. There's, I believe, 5 tabs that you'll click on to access different questions, and then you're going to hit submit. If you see this green sign, that means you're good to go and you've submitted. If you don't see that, it's usually because there's something, and it'll tell you, you know, maybe you skipped the question, or maybe your budget is too high. If your budget is above the budget for that grant, you need to amend it so that it meets the criteria for that budget. So it'll let you know if there's a problem, but you should see this green grant submitted if you've been successful. But again, you want to save often, and don't walk away and think it's saved if you haven't saved it. You need to physically, there's a button on the tab that says save. You will see a grants in progress as well as submitted. So if you're still not sure on your home page, you'll be able to see where you are with your grant application. So this will detail exactly what I've just walked through in terms of the how to apply. I'm not going to go through it again because we only have 30 minutes. But some more tips. Our network is best used through internet browsers, Chrome and Foxfire. If you use Explorer, you will probably encounter a problem which will be very frustrating to you. So again, I encourage you to take the tips and follow them. If you're working in Chrome or Foxfire, you should be fine. You want to save often. If you wait too long to save, it'll time you out. So every time you enter a question, save. Every time you finish a tab, save. As I mentioned, you're going to move through the application by clicking on the tab. You're going to complete all the required responses before submitting, and if you submitted and not completed a required response, it'll let you know that you need to go back. And then again, if you're applying for multiple schools, before you click on Apply Answers, you want to make sure all your questions have been answered because they will autofill into all of your applications. And you can apply for as many grants for your schools that are eligible as you would like. And then you'll need to gather school-level data on each school. You're going to need your principal's name and email, your breakfast participation as well as your lunch participation, and a budget for each school. And depending upon how many schools you're applying for, the district can receive the funding, but or the schools can receive the funding, and you can choose how you would like that to be done when you are accepting the grant. But here are some important deadlines. So, doesn't have a date there. So September 16th are when the applications are due. However, I'm going to encourage you, if you're applying for the breakfast promotion grant or the family engagement, get it in as soon as possible. Don't wait till the 15th of September because the grants may close early if we've awarded all of the grants. We're going to be reviewing them on a weekly basis. So if you want to get your funding started and get your project started from the very first of the school year, which we know some schools are already in session, go ahead and get that application in as soon as possible. We will award all schools by the 3rd of October, but if you get awarded early, we will notify you early. And then school terms and conditions are due by October 29th, with funding coming shortly thereafter. Again, if you've been awarded early, you can submit your terms and conditions earlier and get your funding earlier so you can start your project earlier. But that's only for the breakfast promotion and family engagement grants. The Nebraska grants will not be awarded until October 3rd after the September 16th deadline. We do have a midterm, even though this project is still starting a bit late, later in the school year than some of our other projects. So we kept everybody on the same timeline. So it makes it kind of easier for us and in communications to our schools. So December 16th, we have a midterm, or it could be an update on your project. April 7th is we ask everyone to submit their Every Kid Healthy Week event survey, and then May 26th, our final project reports are due. Some things to think about is evaluation. How are you going to evaluate your outcomes? Student surveys are a great idea for taste testing. You'll need to be capturing your daily participation, average daily participation on a monthly basis, and we compare it to data from the year over year. You might want to capture some quotes from students and create a communication plan for parents. Some budget suggestions. As I mentioned, the portal will not accept funds over the grant amount. So if it's a $500 grant, don't try to slip in extra $25. It won't accept it. Do not include food unless you're doing taste tests. We do not fund food to increase vegetables or fruit consumption from the meal service line. You can only submit food if it's part of a taste test that you're doing either with students or parents. You should, if you need equipment, add that in an equipment category and make sure that you're noting it, that it makes sense for your project. The portal tip on this, if you are filling in your budget, so you only really need money for your taste test, but you don't need money for other things, put in NA for any fields with $0. Otherwise, the portal will say you're missing information in your budget. So just put in NA and it'll recognize that. Our funds are dispersed in 2 payments. You'll receive the first payment after your terms and conditions, and your second payment after your midterm in January. If your project requires more funding than what is being provided by us and you're getting funding elsewhere, let us know so that we understand that how you're leveraging your project to be able to make it work. And otherwise, we're going to think that you're not going to be able to do your project because we don't have enough funds to make it happen. But we do provide a lot of technical assistance, and we hope that you'll be part of our school grants network and our family of schools that we work with. We have content-specific webinars. We provide newsletters focusing on school breakfast and school wellness. We have expert staff and state-level connected folks that we work with that will help you in your state. And we're also able to help you find local resources for additional support. So our goal is really to help you be successful, because that's when you're successful, so are we. And we'll help you in communications as well as evaluation efforts. So now is the time for questions. Let me just do a quick pause and see if we've had any questions submitted. Okay. Yeah, here's a question. Will we get a copy of the recording? Yes, you will get the copy of the recording within 2 business days, and you'll also get a copy of the slide deck. We'll send you all of the materials that you might need, a copy of the application, and where it's located on our website so that you can easily access our online portal. Our goal is really to help you get your applications in and get you funded so that you can start the year off strong. Okay, we have another question. Do you have to provide universal free breakfast? That is a requirement of our breakfast grant. We really do believe that the best models are those that reduce the stigma for students related to who's eating breakfast and who's not. And because this is the way we've structured it with our funders as well, and a requirement of our funding, this is a requirement of our grants. So thinking about those schools that might be in your network that are already participating in CEP or Provision 2, Universal Free, this is not a grant that's for schools that are considering universal, just that they offer breakfast to all students. Offering breakfast is different than providing it free to all students. Okay, here's a great question from Carol. How does your version of the School Health Index differ from the version that the Alliance for a Healthier Generation puts out? They're pretty much exactly the same. And so if you've already completed it through the Alliance, you do not have to complete it with us. You just let us know, and then we can access. And we have an agreement that we're working with the Alliance that allows us to share data back and forth. So you don't have to complete it twice. All righty, so just doing a quick time check. We have about 1 minute. Any other questions? Go ahead and get it in. All right. If you have questions, you can follow up with me directly. I'll make sure you have my information. As I mentioned, I'm the breakfast grant manager, and I'll be able to assist you and help you determine what's your best opportunity for grant funding in your location, as well as, if you're interested in other grants, I can help steer you in that direction as well. But we also have state coordinators, and we'll help connect you with them, and we'll be helpful to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, last question from Fatima. Do you offer grants to private schools? As long as your school is participating in the federal meal program, you are able to apply for our breakfast grants. And all of our grants are available to private schools as well as charter schools and public schools, as long as you meet whatever criteria it might require. And the biggest thing is for our breakfast program is leveraging the reimbursements from the USDA through your state agencies. Great. So that was a quick 30-minute webinar on school breakfast grants that are available by Action for Healthy Kids. Again, if you have questions, I'll make sure you have my follow-up materials within 2 days, and you can contact me with any questions. But as I mentioned, get your applications in. We only have a few of the breakfast promotion and family engagement grants left, and we should be likely to award them by the end of August, early September, if schools get their applications in. Thank you for your time. These are all schools that have been funded by us. Lots of pictures of kids who are being healthy and having opportunities for a healthy physical activity as well as healthy food options. So thank you for attending, and thank you for being part of, hopefully a part of our school grants network. If you have any questions, touch base with me and let me know. Have a great day.